Hello guys, it's August Does Music here, and today we're going to be making a big video. This video is where I'm going to be counting down my top 50 favorite hip-hop albums of all time. This is a little video I just wanted to make right before we drop the top 21 albums of the year in probably right about at the end of the year, either on the last day of December or about a week into January, somewhere in between there. But I wanted to make this video because I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, so let's get straight into number 50 for this video. Alright guys, here at our number 50 spot we have Kids by Mac Miller. This album I think is a lot of fun. It's a little bit hasn't really aged that well. It's got a little bit of like age to it, but I think it's really cool. It shows like it delves deep into the life of the adolescence of Mac Miller as he was only 18 years old when he made this project. I think that's really cool. It's just a fun listen. Yeah, so let's get into the next one. So here at number 49 we have Eternal Atake by Lil Uzi Vert. This album is really interesting. I'm glad that Lil Uzi sort of goes on a more of a narrative take for this album, where this album got hyped a lot, and I think it's really interesting that the fact that the first part of the album is Lil Uzi being abducted by aliens. That's a lot of fun to listen to. At the end of every song there's a little snippet of the story, and the second half of the album is his travels through space, and I think that's super cool. Alright, here at number 48 we have Graduation by Kanye West. This album probably would have been a lot higher for me a while ago, but I figured I would want to go with some more interesting picks than just having a lot of Kanye at the top, so I figured I'd throw it down here towards the bottom. Yeah, this is a really fun album. It's a lot different than Kanye's first two albums. This is his third release. His third, studio release, but, you know, it's really crazy that this album came out in 2007. It really doesn't sound like it did. It's got a very, very innovative sound, and it doesn't really sound like anything else that was coming out around that time, which you have to give it credit for. Here, at our number 47 spot, we have Illmatic by Nas. This album, it's a classic album. Some people regard it as the best hip-hop album of all time. Made by Nas at only 19 years old. It's a really cool depiction of what life in the streets was like for him and the people around him. It's just an overall really great listen, and a must listen in the like scape of hip-hop and the history of hip-hop. It's a defining keystone album in what we hear today in modern rap. Here in my number 46 pick I have All My Heroes Are Cornballs by JPEGMAFIA. This is a really experimental album where I think JPEGMAFIA branched off of the sound he was creating for himself on his previous release, the previous year, Veteran. I think it's a lot more melodic and kind of has a lot of more light tones. That album was very aggressive. While this one is also very aggressive, it feels a lot more like soothing to listen to, which is like weird for him. Well, obviously compared to most music it's not really very soothing, but for him I think it's one of his strongest albums. Not his best though. His best is coming up later in this video. Alright, here number 45 we have Doris by Earl Sweatshirt. I think this is a really great album. It was made very young in Earl's life. I think it was a really good tone setter for his future, and it was perfect in that like kind of edgy sounding Odd Future era. I think it fit in just perfect, and it's a great bit of music for his discography. So here at number 44 we've got Santana World Plus by Atake. This is an album that gets a lot of hate on the internet, but I don't really see it. I think it's a fun, like, interesting album that makes me laugh every time because it talks a lot about Atake boasting about his murdering people, even though he is now in jail for most likely a lifetime sentence for killing someone, which is really ironic, and it makes me laugh. I know it's not that, most people wouldn't find it that funny, but I think it's pretty funny. Alright, number 43, Donda by Kanye West. This is his most recent release, and I think it's really special. The amount of features on this made it really interesting. It felt like he was bringing all these people together. The very, very deep themes about his mother, about the American incarceration system, Jesus Christ. There are so many just interesting themes around it, and the aesthetic for this album I really enjoyed. I enjoy about this project. I know a lot of people have been saying it wasn't their favorite Kanye release, but I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think it's really great. Here at number 42, we've got Madvillainy by MF Doom. This is a king in the abstract hip-hop world. I think that this is a very important album. The sampling on this album is absolutely amazing. Songs like All Caps, Fancy Clown, Accordion, songs like those, they're just like so revolutionary for their time, and they really amaze me how well they hold up even today. It's pretty awesome. Alright, here at number 41 we have Saturation 2 by Brockhampton. This is my second favorite release in the Saturation trilogy. I think it's got a lot of energy. Songs like Gummy, Queer, they're really fun. It's just a really bouncy and energetic album that I think is outclassed by one other in the Saturation trilogy, but it is definitely a very, very, very good release. That the third one is just a little bit better. I think it's within like 10 songs of this one, so you'll see that one soon. Yeah. Alright, here at number 40 we have Faces by Mac Miller. This one just recently got released on streaming services. It wasn't previously due to sample clearing, but I think it is probably one of Mac Miller's most solid releases. It's super cool, super funky and revolutionary. This one is really interesting. I hadn't listened to it until its re-release onto streaming platforms, but it really blew my mind. It's a really, really great project that I didn't really see a lot of people talking about until they had that easy access to it on streaming services. And now I see it everywhere. But yeah, it definitely deserves a spot on this list. Here we have another Brockhampton release at number 39. We have Ginger. This album is way more low-key. First album released under Brockhampton without lead singer Amir Van due to his sexual harassment charges, I believe. And I think they really strived. Even though losing him was a great detriment to the group, I still think that they were able to pull off a really great project here that's a lot more low-key than all their other stuff, which I really liked. Here at number 38, we have Wolf by Tyler, the Creator. This album is super good. I think people write it off as not being that great, just being part of Tyler, the Creator's edgy, lame phase, but there is a lot of talent being shown here. Stuff that he would build upon and make himself better from on upcoming projects that we're going to be talking about later. This is the foundation for Tyler, the Creator's career, and I do not think that he would be here without this project. Alright, here we are, number 37, Damn by Kendrick Lamar. I know this one is a lot of people's favorites, but I did not think it deserved to be any higher. It's a great project, but there are a lot of tracks on here that I do not like. Tracks like Yeah come to mind, and even what's the song? Love, I believe it's called. I can't remember if it's Love or Lust, but it's not one of my favorites. I would say it's probably one of Kendrick Lamar's worst songs, but there are some really, really excellent songs on here. Element, DNA, Triple X being my favorite Kendrick Lamar song of all time. But yeah, this album is very, very, very hit or miss for me. But that's just my opinion, and there will be more Kendrick Lamar albums as we go farther up the list. Alright, here at number 36 we have LUV Is Rage 2 by Lil Uzi Vert. This album is extremely fun. It's the debut record from Lil Uzi. All his other mixtapes before gained him all the success that he needed to make this album blow up. This is probably his most popular and by far my favorite from him. Songs like EXO Tour Life, Neon Guts, For Real, they're all just absolutely amazing. This album is super incredible, and I feel like a lot of people who are in the more snooty side of hip-hop write it off as not being very good, but it is absolutely phenomenal, and I think that you should go listen to it. It's just super great. Taking our number 35 spot, we have Big Fish Theory by Vince Staples. This project has probably one of my favorite album covers of all time. It's super fun. The vibe is very moist and damp. It feels like you're in a sewer listening to this album. It's super fun. Songs like Yeah Right. Yeah Right has to be probably in my top 20 favorite songs of all time. Best Vince Staples song. Best Kendrick Lamar feature. It's just absolutely phenomenal track. The whole rest of the album is super good, and I'm probably going to end up revisiting it pretty soon because I haven't gone back to this one in a while, but it's really great, and I think that you should go check it out. Alright, 34, we have Piñata by Freddie Gibbs. This album is absolutely phenomenal. The features on this album are insane. It's really kind of like the pinnacle of gangster rap for me. It's just so interesting, and the Mad Libs production on this project is absolutely crazy. There's just so much to love about this album, and I revisit it all the time, and I absolutely love this project. Alright, here at 33 we have Denzel Curry's Zoo. This project is extremely fun. Denzel Curry's probably one of his least conceptual releases, but I still think it's really fun and interesting. Wish, Ricky, there's so many classic songs on here that are absolutely essential to the Denzel Curry discography, and it's obviously one of his best albums, but not his best, which we will get to later. Alright, here at 32 we have 1999 by Joey Badass. This is one of my favorite albums. Of course it is, it's on this list. But 1999, the best Joey Badass project. I feel like this one doesn't really get talked about enough. I feel like there is so much potential in this album that he really developed on in his rest of his music. I just wish that some of his other projects had been able to live up to this first release and continue the hype that he really set for himself. Alright, here at number 31 we have At.Long.Last.A AP by A$AP Rocky. A lot of people, especially Anthony Fantano, really don't like this project, but I think it's really awesome. Definitely my favorite from A$AP Rocky. It has absolutely phenomenal production. It's really interesting because A$AP Rocky being like as much of a cultivator and like trendsetter for cloud rap as he is, the fact that he brought people like Bones on for this project, people who are in the newer side and innovators on current day for cloud rap, is really awesome. I think the fact that he was uplifting his own community through this album, and the fact that it just ended off a trilogy, one of the best trilogies in hip-hop, on such a high note, was really great for me, and I love this project a lot. Alright, here at number 30 we have Mirrorland by EARTHGANG, a extremely underrated part of the Dreamville collective. People like J. Cole and J.I.D. get so much light, but people like EARTHGANG really don't. This album feels authentic and real, and it's just one of their best releases, and it's so great. We're going to be going a little more in depth to the records once we get up into that top 20, but as we approach it, here we have at number 29, The Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. This is a new release, but I feel like it's already climbed up through my favorites. It's definitely in my favorites of the year. Spoiler alert for my video, it is one of my favorites from this year, well, as you could tell, because some other stuff that came out this year isn't on this list, but this is. But yeah, this record just absolutely blew me away. I really wasn't paying attention much to Baby Keem until this record came out, but yeah, I think it was a great step in the right direction for someone who has such a possibly great career in front of them. As you can see, I have a Melodic Blue sweatshirt on, and yeah, I think it was really cool, and I would love to see what Keem does next with the next project. Alright, here at 28, Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. While I don't think this is his best project, I would say it is one of my favorites. It's super cool. The addition of DJ Drama was something I really didn't like about it at first, but I really love it now. Most of my feelings on it, I go way more in depth in a video about Call Me If You Get Lost that I did, so if you want to go check that one out, I actually highly recommend it. Number 27, Section 80 by Kendrick Lamar. This was his debut project with Top Dog Entertainment, and I think that it's real interesting. I feel like this is the reason that he became such a figure in hip-hop, this project. And as he created more stuff, it kind of got overshadowed, but I think it's really just people need to go back and re-listen to this project and remember what a classic it is, because it really defined him, and it was what made him so popular. And if it weren't for Section 80, we wouldn't have things like Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly, or even Damn. He would it's stuff like this, like early albums that get people popular. People forget how great they are until they go back to them. Alright, here at number 26 we have Saturation 3 by Brockhampton. This one is super fun. I think it just a little bit outdoes Saturation 2, with the sounds it has in this one are a lot more eclectic and interesting than I feel like they were on Saturation 2 and 1. My favorite in the series and my favorite Brockhampton album overall. Alright, here at number 25, right here at the halfway mark, we have Do You Feel Me by Danny Brown. This project, I feel like went kind of under the radar of everyone, but it was a really great sleeper release that I feel like a lot of people really aren't paying attention to. Features like JPEGMAFIA and Earl Sweatshirt really make this album super interesting and super fun to listen to. Alright, number 24, you knew it had to be on here, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. This album for the longest time was my favorite, but as I feel like I've branched out more into hip-hop, it has fallen down the ranks. It is still an absolutely great album, but I feel like there are some things that hold it down. For 2010, this was an extremely innovative and creative project, but now when you're hearing so much stuff around it, it was absolutely essential, but I feel like with those 11 years, coming up on 12, that people have had to listen to this album, the stuff that he set the groundwork for has been built upon and improved, which means, this is still a great project, but people have listened to this album in the 12 years it's been out and been able to create stuff that is sounding better, that has influence from it, which I think is really great and was overall pretty much like the entire point of an album is for it to inspire others. This is Daytona by Pusha T. This project was produced by Kanye West. It's very short, but it's very sweet. I love this album to death. Alright, here at this number, we have Swimming by Mac Miller. I was almost going to not consider this a hip-hop album, but I feel like I wanted to because, seemed like it felt like the right thing. Some songs on here are really interesting. It's a great album. It feels almost uncanny. The fact that this album references death so much and is like so related to heaven when it came out just 1 month before Mac Miller's death, that's really interesting to me. The way that it plays with death, even now, seems to have gained, in my opinion, a little bit more quality after his death. It kind of sets the tone and makes the themes that he's bringing out more, conceptually interesting, for me at least. We've got Die Lit by Playboi Carti here at number 21. I feel like this album, it has so much energy, and it was really when Playboi Carti was starting to find his stride before he took his sound in a completely other direction with his subsequent release, which we'll get into later, but songs like R.I.P., Shoota have been like the sound of a generation for the last few years. Even like songs like Rip Fredo, No Time, just classics upon classics in this album. It's just a great release. Alright, number 20, Rodeo. This is an album people consider to be one of the best trap albums of all time, and I think I would have to agree with them on that front. This album is so just like groundbreaking, and it set the tone for what was to come for trap music in the next however many years it's been since this project released. And I have nothing but positive things to say about this album as we come into our number 20 spot. We are reaching the absolute cream of the crop here. Alright, here we have Kendrick Lamar's release, and my favorite of his projects personally, To Pimp a Butterfly, here at number 19. This album is so interesting. I know a lot of people really love it and would put it at number 1, but I don't think I'm that attached to it. But yeah, it's just super fun. Well, it's not super fun. Just the way it incorporates sound like funk, jazz, soul, all this stuff to convey a really compelling message of racial inequality in America is super cool. Alright, here at number 18 we have Strays with Rabies. I think this release from EARTHGANG is definitely their best, and it is so amazing. I think it's an album that almost no one, when I say nobody talks about it, this is really the case for this one. All the other albums I've said no one talks about it. Obviously I do hear people talking about it from time to time. I've literally never seen a single mention of this album on the internet aside from myself. I'm one of the biggest advocates for this one that I've seen on the internet. And yeah, I think it's just super awesome. Really great project. The vibe of this feral, rabid energy that they brought to this project is just absolutely like spectacular and was really, 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 really cool to hear, and it absolutely blew my mind the first time I heard it. It's just super awesome project. Alright, here is number 17. We have Whole Lotta Red by Playboi Carti. This is a project that was extremely polarizing at its release, but I think people have come around and been able to respect and understand the real quality that is behind this project. It is super fun, absolutely insane. Songs on here like Metamorphosis, On That Time, Vamp Anthem even, are really like pushing the letter of what trap and rap can be. You can have that rock spin on it without it being like labeled as some really bizarre, weird thing, and I think this album is only going to gain more respect with time as the sound that I feel like Playboi Carti is pioneering on this album becomes more and more widely used. People are going to be going back to this one and saying how important it was for a generation of music to come. Alright y'all, here at number 16 we've got Man on the Moon 3, my least favorite from the trilogy, the Man on the Moon trilogy from Kid Cudi, and least favorite is hard to say when it's number, 16 on my of all time list. Yeah, this album is absolutely great. I love the kind of way that Cudi strayed away from the sounds of Man on the Moon 1 and 2, because obviously this coming out 10 years after its successor in the series, it had to switch it up. It has a much more like trap-centric vibe to it than the other two did, obviously, because trap was just a fledgling of an idea at that point. But yeah, I think it was really cool how Cudi was able to incorporate his old style and didn't try to like stick to what was known for the other two and kind of branched out with his ideas. At number 15 we have Unlocked by Denzel Curry. This project was produced by Kenny Beats. It's really short but really sweet. I think it is super interesting. I think the production here is super innovative and bizarro and super cool. The like distortion and interesting things that Denzel Curry was able to do to his voice on songs like Pyro, Leak 2019 is super awesome, and I really would like to see more projects like this out of him in the very near future. On number 14, we're really hitting the wire here, Because of the Internet by Childish Gambino. This project, I feel like I saw something about it where it was Yeezus versus Because of the Internet, and it was 22% for Because of the Internet. That was just upsetting to me. People are really forgetting how great this project is. It's witty, it's funny, has some really great bars, amazing production, especially for the time. This project overall is just really great. The year it came out, I don't remember what year it is, but I'll have it up on the screen right here. Yeah, the year it came out, this is by far my favorite project from that year, and it's super awesome, and even now I find myself coming back to it pretty frequently. Number 13, we're really reaching the end here, Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. I think a lot of people have come under the idea that Call Me If You Get Lost is better than Flower Boy, and I really don't think that's the case. This project is really awesome. It's probably one of my favorite tonal albums. The tone on this album is just like so consistent with the promotion, the album cover, everything that Tyler was doing around this time was just seamlessly fit into the vibe and sound of his music, and I absolutely adore that for this project. It's so amazing. Alright, number 12, The Money Store by Death Grips. This album is so awesome. It is extremely experimental, it's hard to swallow, it is aggressive, it's in your face, and it is a masterpiece. I absolutely adore this project, and I think that for years and years and years and years to come, even now, it holds up and people will continue to talk about it and think about how amazing it is. I was going to include Ex-Military on this list, which I think is a little bit better than The Money Store. I would probably put it in about the top 6 or 7, but it is a mixtape and it isn't on streaming, and I feel like that's a little bit out of the realm of the people watching this, and I kind of wanted to keep it within there, so decided to keep it off the list. But know that that album, while The Money Store isn't, that album is a 10 out of 10, but I don't include it on most of my list because it is a mixtape. Alright y'all, number 11, Kids See Ghosts by the self-titled project. For Kids See Ghosts, this project is super, super, super short. It's just over 20 minutes. but every single song here is absolutely amazing. The absolute dream combination of Kid Cudi and Kanye West really shines on this project. Songs like Reborn, Fourth Dimension, Fire, Free, Cudi Montage, Feel the Love, and I've listed all the songs. Yep, this is a great album. Alright, here we are. Top 10, baby. Some Rap Songs by Earl Sweatshirt. This project, short again. I find myself that I've recently become in love with these really short projects, stuff like Unlocked, Kids See Ghosts, and Some Rap Songs are some of my favorite projects. Mixing is really interesting on this release. I just wish he had been able to keep up how absolutely phenomenal this project is on his subsequent release, Feet of Clay, which I was kind of underwhelmed with. Number 9, The Life of Pablo by Kanye West. This album is so fun. It really is so interesting because it depicts the 3 sides to Kanye: his Pablo Escobar side of him being manic and crazy and doing things that are completely out of line, his Pablo Picasso side of him being an absolutely phenomenal artist, and his St. Pablo side, which is his more religious side. This is when I think Kanye started to dive more into that religious gospel sound, and it goes over so amazingly on this project. This contains a very large portion of my favorite Kanye tracks. Songs like Father Stretch My Hands, Famous, Waves, 30 Hours. All of these are just absolutely amazing songs that are absolutely crucial to the Kanye West discography. Alright guys, here at number 8 we have Astro World by Travis Scott. This project is awesome. I feel like the vibe and aesthetic here work out so well. Travis Scott creates the perfect, I know this is kind of controversial, especially with things happening now, like mosh pit music. It's absolutely insane. It is one of the most hyped projects, probably the most hyped album on this list, except for maybe number 1. Number 1 is probably a little bit more hype for me, and we'll get into number 1 here just in a minute, but this is by far one of my favorite releases, obviously. We are just here on the cusp of 10 out of 10 territory, but we'll get there just here in a minute. Number 7, Veteran. Veteran by JPEGMAFIA is obviously his best project. It is absolutely just mind-blowing the kinds of sounds he's able to make here. He actually made he made all the beats himself, and most of them while he was in active duty, which I think is super cool. Songs like 1539 Calvert Street, Baby I'm Bleeding, Rainbow Six, Thug Tears, yeah, just so many great Libtard Anthem, so many great tracks on this project that I feel like define a generation of experimental music and will for years to come. Here we have our number 6 pick, Ye by Kanye West. My personal favorite Kanye album. I think this absolutely deserved a spot here. It is an amazing love album that now kind of serves as a breakup album. It's his most mellow project, his most, his shortest project too, just showing you how much I love those little short projects that I can just dip my toes into and experience the whole thing in such a short period of time on a whim. It's awesome. This project, no pun intended there. But yeah, this project is really great, and I feel like people don't give it the credit it really deserves. Alright, I forgot to mention this, but with that last album, Ye, we are officially into 10 out of 10 territory. I have 6 10 out of 10 rap albums, starting with Ye, and this next one here, Atrocity Exhibition, as you've already read, from the ever-talented Danny Brown. This album is the perfect view into Danny Brown's mind. It encapsulates the, well, I wouldn't know, but, you know, the, insanity that drug addiction it can take you down, the manic, drive and insanity that it brought to him, songs like Ain't It Funny, the imagery that this album creates in your mind is absolutely insane, and I would recommend that anyone watching this video go stop right now, maybe see what number 1 is, but after this please go listen to this project. I cannot recommend it enough. Alright y'all, number 4, Man on the Moon by Kid Cudi. This project is absolutely phenomenal. As I've said for like everything on this list, of course it's absolutely phenomenal. It's on my top 50. But yeah, this project obviously is a masterpiece. It's super interesting, it's compelling. The themes of depression, anxiety are things everyone can relate to. And it's like a project that for a lot of people is extremely important to them. And to me, it is also very important. It's so great. This is a great project. And my number 3 is Igor. So yeah, Igor is number 3. Yeah, I felt like it really belonged here. This is the perfect breakup album. It shows the things going through Tyler the Creator's mind as he falls in love with someone, and then the falling apart and realizing that they don't love him back, and having to come to terms with that. This is probably the most compelling project on this list. Number 2 and number 1 I like just a little bit more, but yeah, this album is absolutely just masterful. I feel like it could have done without I Don't Love You Anymore, but I have nothing but positive things to say about this album. Number 2 is Man on the Moon 2. Fitting, isn't it? Yeah, this album, I feel like where Man on the Moon 1 is like a banger-filled album, this is a much more melancholy and withdrawn album with more chill like hits like These Worries, Erase Me, Mr. Rager, The End, which is my favorite Kid Cudi song of all time. It's just like the atmosphere in this album is amazing, and I couldn't be more happy with the way it turned out. And here we are. Number 1, baby. Taboo by Denzel Curry. This album is insane. It is like I'm beyond words with how amazing this album is. Every single song I absolutely love. The narrative of the light, gray, and dark sides of this album. The concept of sexual abuse that Denzel Curry suffered as a child. The loss of his brother to police brutality. It is all depicted here, and Denzel Curry's emotions are laid out on display. This album is haunting, it is disturbing, but it is beautiful in the way that it is those things. It is my favorite album of all time, and I just adore it. It set Denzel Curry as in my top 3 rappers. Kid Cudi and Kanye come above him, but he is a genius. This album is so personal, so amazing, and by far my favorite project of all time. So y'all, what did you think? Are there any albums I super snubbed on this project, or did you feel satisfied with the opinion I gave on everything? I want to know down in the comments, so go ahead and leave a comment for me so that I can know what I didn't and didn't live. This video, I'm going to probably spend all day on it. Yeah, but I think it was a lot of fun to make, and I think you should consider subscribing so you don't miss out on that top 21 albums of 2021 when it drops in a couple weeks. Yeah, stay tuned for that. But other than that, thank y'all so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.